So hi everybody, it's Kenny K here again, and again a blast to the past. Of course, you always get that with me. We're going to a cult movie, obscure, kind of obscure, a movie called Midnight from 1982, a B horror movie, slasher movie, and horror thriller. If you want to see all the genres that IMDb gives it, it gives it a 4.9. Give it a 5, and it's directed by a guy named John A. Russo. Now, before I start, if you like the video, like it, subscribe because it's free. Everything is free. Comment if you have something to add, and if you want me to review a movie, a horror movie, put it in the comments. I'll do it for free. Re-review doesn't matter. I like it. It's a little bit of change for me. So let's start. Now, John A. Russo, this movie costed $75,000, ultra low budget. Now, John A. Russo is in the clique of the George Romero clique. Okay, he is friends. He always works for Romero. He worked on Night of the Living Dead. He worked on Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. This guy worked on a lot of Romero movies, and he wants to be like Romero, and you can see the style of filming is like a Romero movie. The acting wise, the special effects, also done by Tom Savini in this movie, by the way. But because of the very, very low budget, Savini was kind of limited. And Savini actually turned down, which first, his reasoning for turning down Friday the 13th, part 2, was because he didn't like that Jason came back. Now we know that was BS because he later comes back for part 4 with Jason. Actually, that was because he wanted to do this for a friend, which is memorable, right? But he did it for peanuts if he got paid for Russo. Now, like I said, Savini is good friends with, of course, Romero. We all know Creepshow, right? The first one, the best one. All these Romero segments and Stephen King segments with all the horror alumni. Savini's in it in a wraparound with Tom Atkins. You have Hal Holbrook, Adrian Barbeau, even Leslie Nielsen, for God's sakes. I mean, and the list goes on and on. And you got even Galen Ross for a moment from Dawn of the Dead, the female lead of Dawn of the Dead. Now, this movie is basically, it's not good. It's really not. The acting is bad. It doesn't. There are things that are like, huh, okay, so the this, but for some reason, this guy also made a few other movies, and Romero made a few weird movies too, like Martin. If you ever saw Martin, it's like this movie about. But Romero is like this swell guy. He works in Pittsburgh, films in Pittsburgh most of the time. Day of the Dead was filmed in Florida, but the Pittsburghians all know Romero. They take actors from amateur theater groups. They do it for free because they know Romero. And there are actually a few actors that get paid. Maybe Savini got even, maybe he didn't even got paid. He's just doing this for a friend. They only had a crew with 3 people, Russo included. So a camera guy, a sound guy, and a director, basically. And Savini doing the SFX, the special effects. And there are moments in this movie, and but for some weird reason, you're kind of engaged in this movie. You still are interested. It's weird. It has you engaged. There's something about these movies. And also, this movie was made in 1982, but it looks like a movie made in the 70s because it has that 70s grindhouse look. And also, I think it's called the camera they used, making it more grimy, and the way they're acting. Like, for example, there is this kind of a lead black guy named Hank, and he talks like this. Oh, look at that Hank! Look at that hunky motherfucker! She's going with that cat. You know, that's like that. That's the dialogue at moments. You know. Um, Now the movie starts out in this beautiful landscape, fields, trees, forest, and you hear like a crow or an eagle or bird some kind, like "Ah! Ah!" And then at some point you hear like it changes to a baby sound like "Ah! Ah!" And then you see it's actually a young female that's doing "Ah! Ah!" And I think, oh my god, it looks like they used like three different soundtracks. Yeah. So it's basically a young female, trapped in a bear trap, covered in blood. So apparently it looks like she's being hunted. And it is, because there's this old woman, the mom, I guess, with all her kids, four kids, and they're all have like baseball bats, a sledgehammer, and an axe in a club, and they're going to this woman and says, "We caught it." The mom says, "It's a demon," and the one of the boys says, "But it looks like Mr. Kissinger's daughter." The demon can take many forms, humans even. Okay, Luke, kill it. Okay, Luke, hit it. Now, hit it now. Okay, you sure? Hit it, she says. Okay, he hits her unconscious, and then the mom says, "Okay, let's give it its last rites." Now, at that time, you think, okay, it's gonna be a movie about these fucked up kids because of a fucked up mom, super dangerous religious people. No, they're actually Satanists, and they're in these black gowns. Oh hell, Lucifer and Satan have these pentagrams drawn on their heads, and the oldest one is a woman named Cynthia, a girl named Cynthia. Now I'm thinking, okay, they're hunting a demon. Lucifer and Satan, potatoes, potatoes, demon, Satan, right? I mean, okay. So they're offering up a demon to Satan, which he has plenty of. To okay, and that was a weird bit, right? I thought, okay, that's weird. Then the mom says to Cynthia, she has this big knife. "Do it, Cynthia. Do it. What I told you." And she plunges it in. We don't see that. We go to the credits with the actors who are in it, and we see John Amplas. Oh, John Amplas, and also Lawrence Tierney. Now, he's a Hollywood legend, and you may know him from Reservoir Dogs. He's the leader of the gang of the organizer of the heist, and he calls everybody like, "You're Mr. Black, Mr. Pink." And then when Steve Buscemi's, I think he's Mr. Pink. He says, "Mr. Pink." Oh, that sounds gay. Can I be? "No, you're Mr. Pink. And I told you you're fucking Mr. Pink." He's like this gangster, like this old guy looking like a gangster. He doesn't have a big role in the Reservoir, but you probably know who he is if you've seen Reservoir Dogs, which you should. It's a good movie. It's the first Tarantino movie, I believe. A very low budget Tarantino movie, by the way. Now, he's in this movie, and I think most of the budget went to him. It's not a lot in this movie, beginning and end. Maybe John Amplas got a little money. Maybe Tom Savini. I don't know. Um, but he would have had way. So it's memorable that he's doing this because he probably got way more money if he did the SFX for Friday Part 2, right? which is my second favorite Friday the 13th, by the way. Favorite one being part 4, also with Tom Savini's special effects. Um, Now, first of all, the special effects in this movie are pretty crap, and it's actually sad. But Tom Savini was limited, right, with that budget. Like, it's the same effects like in Dawn of the Dead, the same kind of acting too, because Dawn of the Dead didn't have great acting, and the effects were like when you shoot somebody, you have this like a squib maybe, but it's like just on this. It's like a paintball that goes, it has this smudge of blood on the sweaters. Stabs, you don't see the knife going in, you just see like, stabbings, and then you see the blood of the stab, and you know what I mean, the blood stain. There's just 3 kills that are gory looking. One is a decapitation that was okay, but the 2 best kills are throat slits, and those throat slits he probably put the most effort in, because if you see in The Prowler, a famous slasher movie from 1981, but it wasn't the best, but Tom Savini says it's his best work ever. You see that movie mostly for the gore. Tom Savini did a great job. And if you've seen The Prowler, which I kind of recommend you see, it's not a good story. The killer is kind of cool. It's this military outfitted killer from World War II. But the story is kind of boring, but the kills are great. And you have this one kill, this college girl going into the pool. She wants to get out. The killer hits her in the face and then kills her really mean spirit like not only cutting her throat, but really carving the knife deep in there, like almost taking off the head. 2 of the kills here in that one, like sacrificial kills, same way, exact same kill, knife really plunging deep in there, get the blood in a cup, to drink for Satan and Lucifer, you know what I mean? And those were cool kills. Now the movie starts out, like I said, with these kids, and then the credits, and then you see this what I thought was a boy, because that person was wearing this shirt all the way buttoned up to here, had this bow tie, it looked a little bit Amish. I'm not sure, or really 70s, a weird style of clothing, and looking down and a crude cut, like, and the voice was real low and confessing to a guy you only see the legs to, and I thought, oh, it's somebody from this cult, Static Cult, who actually is kind of in remorse. And you think the guy is like one of the cult leaders, but apparently he was just a priest. And then the person says, "I laid with a man," and I thought, I thought it was even a boy. Oh, so he's gay, and he probably says, okay, that's why he, you know, sinned in his eyes, But then we go to a scene on the bed, a girl named Nancy, who's the main lead, calling with her girlfriend Patsy, who she's happy with. She went out with the guy. I hope you is happy. And it's weird transition, okay? And at the end of the movie, I actually realized, because who the fuck was that boy? No, it's not boy. It's Nancy. Because she had the same clothes. I was thinking, oh, she's wearing this weird clothes, like that weird, not a bow tie, but it's more like this female bow tie. That's like, it's, oh god, it's Nancy. And yeah, she had a boyfriend, because at some point her stepdad's on the door, which is Lawrence Tierney, and he's an abusive, drunk, daughter stepdaughter rape. He wants to basically rape his stepdaughter, and she hits him on the head, and she wants to run away. And when he gets up and the mom comes out home, then she says, "Where's Nancy?" And he's lying, and he says, "I think she's wanting to seduce me with her young body." So he's being an asshole. He's many things. Then eventually, when Nancy is trying to lift, the first thing you get is this car. The first guy who stops is, "Where are you gonna? Where do you need to go?" She says, "California. I'll get you 600 miles. What do I get in return?" She says, "What do you want?" "You know what I don't play coy with me, toots. You know what I want." After 300 miles, we get a motel room together, and then after the next 300 miles, we get an hotel motel room again. Then we kiss each other goodbye. No biggie. Got that? So he's basically a pervert sleazebag again. The movie has a lot of bad things: rape, perverts, womanizers, um, fascism, racism, Satanism, torture, gore, and also this sh- guilt shaming from black people to white people, you know, yeah, but over the top. There's this okay, so at the same time there's this minivan with a guy in there, two guys in there called Tom and Hank. Tom is a driver, he's white. Hank is the passenger, he's black. And Tom is like super like, "Look at that girl, oh, I want a piece of that, oh, I really want a piece of that." And Hank is like, "Come on, man, we're going to Lauderdale, Fort Lauderdale. You're gonna get a better lot of girls, man. Because look at that, she's going with that cat, that honky." And then at some point, the guy drives away. Oh, he drove away. Let's pick her up. So then we know she won't be picked up by a creep. I'm thinking to myself, now, Tom, you're the creep. So all these guys are like, either they're racists or psychopaths or these creeps. this, I mean, these sleazebags, and so they pick her up, and then you have these three songs in this movie. Okay, I think made up songs, because I can't believe this, like from the 70s clearly, because they start like the van is completely padded with flowers, like a hippie van, and the song goes like, "Doom doom doom, working on the road, so we're all just fine. We're on the road and laughing out loud." And then at that time, you see like Tom talking, but you don't hear it. You just see in their mouths move, and his Tom is hectically talking like to Nancy, and she's like, so, and it goes on for like 2 minutes, and eventually, okay, what happens? They stop at this gas station. They go into the gas station. Nancy buys a bag of potato chips. Goes to Hank. "You want some chips?" And Hank's like, "Listen, if you get to Lauderdale, get the hell away. Don't be a pissed about it. This trip is between me and Tom." So he's already being kind of a douchebag to her. She says, "Okay, but you should tell your friend Tom, because I think he wants something else, right?" So she's uber religious, right? She fucked a guy on the porch, but she's uber. That's the reason why she went to the preacher, because she's uber religious. But then, of course, later on, they do something. Okay, it's this movie doesn't make sense at some moments, but this random priest comes, this black priest with his black daughter, and then immediately Hank is like, you know, to the black daughter, "Hey, good looking, how you doing?" And he's immediately friendly. But the thing is, this movie has a lot of that, like blacks hating certain white people. Not okay, they're racists. That's understandable, but not like Nancy. She's not a racist, and he's constantly. It's like there's a moment when she's playing this song on the guitar of God, and then he says she has no right playing this, and then Tom says why? Because it's a slave song. So, and she's okay, I'll stop, and then yeah, it's like that. So it's constantly that. Shut up, you enslaved my ancestors. It's like that, It's and I understand, but it gets frustrating at a while because he becomes a douchebag about it, a little bit too much shaming. And then eventually the priest says, "Listen to Tom, the driver, listen, we're 10 miles away from home, but the backwoods are dangerous. We don't want to do it because a lot of people go missing on the backwoods. 20 people got killed." And the priest says, "Watch it, priest." And he says, "Okay, you already get the sense, okay, they're not for black people." So they get in the car. They drop the priest off on a graveyard, not far from their house. They go to his wife's grave. They preach, but there's a fat hillbilly with a knife lurking on them, and eventually the girl goes home earlier than the priest then finishes. He goes out of it behind a tombstone. The big fat hillbilly stabs the priest like 20 times. Meanwhile, he's giggling like, and then he takes the priest's dead body to the black girls to the house to his house where the black girl is, and he then drops the body in front of the door, and you see like the blood, the same kind of painty like blood they used like in Dawn of the Dead. The giggling guy goes after the girl like he can't speak. He can't. He only laughs and giggles. And they end up in the bathroom. He puts her in the bathtub, holding her his hand like this, like suffocating her. But meanwhile, he puts on the tap. But the thing is, the water is like it's running on her forehead, and I think he was trying to waterboard her or something. But eventually, let's say he suffocated her, and then later on, when the van comes across a road, they see him with a dead body. I mean, he has a shroud around it, but it's bloody and a body. And then Nancy says, "Oh man, what a freak was that? Did you look at his face? He looked like he was grinning." And I swear I saw a shoe sticking out of those clothes. And then Hank's like, "Girl, you're tripping. Wait till you taste a little bit of her hash." And then they go to this diner to pick up a 6-pack of Pabst, Um, and immediately all these guys are like, "Whoa, whoa, what the hell are you doing here, boy? We don't want you kind here, boy. I'm looking at you, black boy." And they're all like being, and saying to the waitress, "Don't serve that black guy. You know that, Cynthia. Don't, or Marva. Do you not serve that black guy? We don't want you kind here, black boy." And then Hank saying, "And I'm watching you, honky marfa." Then outside, they're being bum rushed by these guys, all with shotguns, and there's almost a lynching happening. But there's a cop, a deputy, and he says, "Come over here now. You got your 6-pack. Get in your car and get the hell out of here. We don't want you kind here." So he's also a racist. And then Hank says, "You white pieces of trash." So they're driving away. And then they say something really weird. They're saying basically, Nancy, we're gonna be honest with you, we don't have any money, so actually what we're doing, we're stealing our way to Fort Lauderdale. We're going to supermarkets and steal everything for our food and drinks. And they're forcing Nancy to steal, so thou shalt not steal, but she's religious, but she does it anyways. They go in the supermarket and you see Hank throwing everything in the she has a cart, and you get this weird song again. Boom, 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 boom. This cheery song. Do what you fucking want. I'm not making this up, right? It's the song's irritating as fuck. So they put the food in the bags and they get out of Dodge. They run away. They get the cops behind them, and this van can outrun a fucking police cruiser. Apparently, okay, so they're not listening to any of the signs. They're dumb, like the priest said. They're people dying. They know they're in a racist KKK town, basically, and they're sleeping in these backwoods, which are extremely dangerous. Now, okay, these two cops creep on them. You think it's the two cops of the squad car, right? And they're like super racist, fascist. They're beating the shit out of Hank, and they're saying to the other guy, Abraham, the guy is called, and the other one's called Luke, the cops, you know. Luke is like this muscle bound cop, and Abraham is a skinny cop. He's played by John Amplas from Martin. He's and he also plays a zombie in the short segment of Creepshow, the first one, the Father's Day. I want my cake, Bedelia. I want my cake. And then she hits him with like this ashtray, and he's dead. And he then later comes back as a zombie, and the zombie is played by John Amplas, with Ed Woods doing that weird dance. Remember? I mean, um, he's playing this racist cop, and then he says, "One move, and I blow your fucking brains out in little pieces." Got that, both of you. They cuff him. Now, Hank does something stupid. You have a forest line, and then you have an open field, but he decides to run on the open field where they can clearly hit him, shoot him. So they, instead of going to the forest line where all the trees are, so they shoot him. Abraham goes point blank range, puts a bullet between his eyes, and then Tom's reaction is hilarious. Nancy at this point is looking from behind the trees, and he says, "Oh, you racist cop, you killed my best friend." And then Abraham is saying, "He arrested the rest. And what to do with you, boy? You're gonna shoot me anyway, so shoot me." And he's not scared at all. He gets two bullets in his body. Then they see Nancy. They're running after Nancy, but they're playing this game with her, like psychotic. And then she goes into this house. There's this woman there playing solitaire, and and Nancy's saying, "Help, help me." She's not looking at her. She's not saying anything. And then she says, "Is there a phone? Do you got a phone?" And she does like this, and okay, Nancy goes to these black curtains, and then you see this big fat hillbilly who killed the priest, cutting off. There are two guys there, one black, one white. They look like dead, but apparently were sedated. Cutting off the head of the black guy with a machete, and that was gory. That was a good effect. And then she runs away, and the two cops come, and she says, "The killers are in there, the killers are in there." So they go in the house, and of course, these two guys are part of they're saying to the fat guy, "Cyrus, you piece of shit, you know mom doesn't like a mess." The woman is called Cynthia, and she's kind of the leader of these guys. So you got Luke, Abraham, Cynthia, and Cyrus, and now, oh, you get it. The beginning, the first scene with the kids is 10 years basically later or something. Those were the kids now grown up, and they say, you know, mom upstairs doesn't like a mess. So, but the problem is they don't say that, and it makes it confusing. 10 years later, like that, it makes it confusing. You gotta remember their names. They're the kids from the beginning. Oh, I get it. Then at some point, these two guys were the cops that were chasing them in the van. Like I said, they apparently their car broke down. They went on foot, ended up this house with this twisted family of Satanists, basically a ripoff of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But Russo claims that he never saw that movie. I call BS because one of the most recognized movies, Spielberg's favorite horror movie, and he's good friends with Toby Hooper. And I mean, I call BS, and there are multiple ripoffs because at some point Luke, so they put Nancy in this doll cage, um, and there's another girl in a cage next to her called Gwen, but they need three girls, and apparently Cynthia is mad because Cyrus got another girl that was with Gwen, but he killed her because that girl apparently hit Cyrus, and he, out of rage, he killed her. And Cynthia was the oldest, so she was, because in the beginning the mom says, Cynthia, do it what I told you, and then what I teach you. So she's being, she's now the head Satanist, and her family or her henchmen. Now, Luke goes upstairs, and you get this pure a scene straight out of Psycho, because you get this mummified skeleton-looking mom sitting in a chair that also is speaking to them in their minds. So what they're actually doing is they need three girls, so they need another girl. They go catch another girl and kill the husband. Boom, they get her to the house. They need three to sacrifice. And like I said, those throat slits, they're slitting their throats, and those are pretty cool looking special effects. And they're straight from the Prowler. You get two of them instead of, you get two for the price of one, because in the Prowler you only get one. And that's where Savini shines for a moment, and then the head cutting off, and those three kills are Savini's most prominent moments. And so to make it a little bit shorter, because I can talk a lot about this movie, but we're going into spoilers. So spoiler warning, here, text, boop, 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 boop. So for people who don't want to know the spoilers, a little, so what I think about this movie is, it's a B movie. It's a low budget movie. You see it. They got everything for free. I think most of their budget went to Lawrence Tierney, a little bit to John Amplas, and maybe a little bit to some Savini, although I think he did it for peanuts. Like I said, he turned down Friday the 13th Part 2 for it, so it's pure for doing something for a friend. Because I wanted to talk a little bit more about these really cult movies of Romero and Russo, because you have a few good ones, a few obscure hidden gems, and I'm gonna talk about them in a next video, in a few next videos in the future, because they're interesting movies. For some reason, you keep watching them because, in a way, they're awfully acted. It's low budget. but you kind of appreciate what they do with what they got, and that's it, being extremely creative, and you kind of have to appreciate that. And for some weird reason, you still want to watch. You keep watching it. You're kind of entertained and curious. These are more curiosities. It's yeah, the '70s grindhouse look. It's so basically what happens now is, like I said, they kill the two girls. Nancy's left. She's constantly praying, dear Lord, although she's stealed in the meantime. Again, she has to repent, and she's in her cage praying. Now, this weird thing happens that Lawrence Tierney, because her mom is kind of afraid now. She's not coming back. Lawrence Tierney is a police officer. He can see in the police log. He tracks down the van. He, in civilian clothes, goes to the sheriff's office of the county where Nancy's in. Now, the sheriff is super sweet. He says, "We're not liked in these parts of the country. In the backwoods, I lost two deputies today, and a few men of mine are looking for them." Now, the sheriff is saying that people don't like cops, but his deputy was like this racist motherfucker, but then the sheriff isn't, and it doesn't compute. And then he says, "Are you a lawman? Okay, you can look for my two cops." Last place looking, he puts him on the map where he has to go. Instead of giving him a few of his cops, no, he just lets the old kook go on alone. Now, so basically, the rapist, abusive stepdad becomes the hero at some point. Now, he arrives at the house. He hits Luke, the bulky guy, he thought to death with he looks like a toy hammer. You see some blood in his face, and then he puts him in the trunk of the car, or the minivan that they took from Tom and Hank. Then Abraham and Cyrus are coming out with the dead body of Gwen. And then, "Where's my daughter?" He puts a gun on them, and it depends. Maybe this is your daughter, like John Amplas, Abraham is saying, with this laugh on his face. Is her name Gwen? No, it's Nancy. "Oh, you're in luck. She's still alive." And he says to Abraham, "Go get my daughter now." Because he has this voice, Lawrence Theory. He's cool, but in this movie, he's a prick. He's many things. The, so he gets the Stella, and meanwhile, Cyrus is there giggling, looking at him. Lawrence Theory is looking at him and laughing back, like this. Now, okay, they get Nancy. Now, of course, Cynthia's behind the wall trying to ambush Lawrence Tierney's character. Now, he says, "You two are under arrest. Come with me." So instead of shooting these pieces of shit, because he thought he killed Luke, so he didn't have any promise of killing one of them. No. So they go behind the corner. Now, Cynthia has these two knives. She plunges one in his back. She does like, "Ah!" And now, if a what if scenario, if he saved Cynthia, he would have raped her in the car. I mean, I had this idea. Oh my god, make him the good guy, right? I mean, making him the good guy when he's a piece of shit, abusive, raping stepdad. Okay, lying piece of shit, and he's becoming the hero. He saves her basically. So he gets the knife in his back, but he managed to kill Cyrus, who's giggling all the time, shoots him through the head. Then he kills Abraham, shoots him, he flies away. He's sitting there, okay, against, and then he dies. Lawrence Tierney. Now it's between Cynthia and Nancy. Now Nancy goes to the shed, takes this little scythe, and uh, Cynthia is in the shed. Nancy ambushes her, puts the scythe against her throat, slitting her throat, and then the picture is still with Cynthia like on the bloody throat, and you think the movie ends like that, but then it starts again. You see like Nancy walking slowly through all the carnage. You see Abraham sitting on his knees in a weird position like this, and then Luke, apparently not dead yet, is like, oh, coming out of the car. She takes the gun of her dad, her stepdad, shoots point blank range, misses twice, hits him in the leg for the third time. Then he still moves on. He's like going after her. Puts kerosene on the ground. He sees that. He sees she's taking a match. Puts it on fire, and he steps on the kerosene. Is on fire. Then she leans against a wall, looking at with a sad face. And then you hear this song again. Doom, doom, doom. The end. We're all happy and we're all not sad. And then I'm thinking, oh, fuck. Oh, so okay, these songs were so irritating as fuck. And the end was so abrupt. Now, apparently, the reason why this was so abrupt was that Russo wanted the movie to end on a downer. The Satanists win, kills Tierney, kills Nancy in a horrible way, but the studio demanded for another ending, a more upbeat ending. So they rushed it, and you it's a rush job because at some point, like I said, Lawrence Tierney is there, saving the day, taking Nancy, killing them all, almost all, Nancy killing the rest, and it ends. So it was a rush job, but still, it has some kind of a quality to it. So sorry for the long review because it's a movie that, I mean, yeah, you gotta talk about, but apparently this has two sequels, part two, which has apparently Abraham still alive, a third one who's in pre-production now, and a remake from 2022. So, okay, all indie scores are between 4 and 5. So giving is a 5. Hope you like the review. I'll do a few more of these obscure Romero click reviews and Romero reviews um, that you may. I know a lot of the people that watch my videos like those, and see you later. Thanks.